Hello, I am Lady Orkyra, Duchess of Silver and your local villainess, but you may call me York, and recently it has become apparent to me that I have gotten a little heavy, even for a dragon. What can I say? I have an insatiable sweet tooth, I love my little treats, and you can pry them out of my cold dead claws. However, I've started to feel sluggish lately, and I find that I don't really have energy these days. Plus, my clothing doesn't really fit the same. I may not look it, but my corsets are doing some heavy lifting, no pun intended. Overall, I just haven't really been feeling great physically, so I decided that it was time for me to lose a few pounds and maintain things before it gets out of hand. So how fortunate that as I was scrolling through the App Store for a new Otome game to sink my teeth into, I came across a title that caught my eye: Burn Your Fat With Me for Girls. Naturally, I was curious about it, so I investigated and found that it is tagged as a lifestyle Otome game with the goal of helping the player lose weight through different workouts. An interesting premise. So I thought, why not try out this weight loss Otome game and see if it can help me? To be honest, it's a wonder that I've never heard of this. I'm sure there's content about it somewhere, but it's never been on my radar until now. Now, I want to preface that I didn't title the video the way I did simply because it's a game with the goal of making the player lose weight. That itself is not the issue. The issue arises from one of the game's strategies of motivation, shall we say. So, let's delve into the game known as Burn Your Fat With Me. Burn Your Fat With Me for Girls was made by Creative Freaks all the way back in 2013 and is marketed as the first ever romance adventure fitness app intended for girls. So here are some parts of the description of it in the App Store. Burn Your Fat With Me series is a fitness app / dating sim that provides players with the motivation to work out through moe, a Japanese term describing that heart-melting feeling you get when you see an adorable female anime character. We call it motivation. Okay. At its core, Burn Your Fat With Me is a Japanese visual novel game akin to the Phoenix Wright or Professor Layton series, but instead of building a case or solving puzzles, the player advances the story by clearing fitness goals, such as performing 50 sit-ups in 3 minutes. Well, they're sort of right in that they're all visual novels, but they're literally nothing alike. That's like saying, The Sims is a simulation game akin to Papa's Pizzeria or Cooking Mama, but instead of cooking and serving tasty meals, you control little people and desperately try to prevent them from having depression and dying. Like, yes, they're all simulation games, but they're incomparable in any other aspect. Strange comparisons aside, this game actually does exactly what it says. I opened the game and was greeted by this. I have no idea what that means. So going into the game, it asks you to input your name, age and weight, as well as the difficulty of workouts and a few other options to mess around with. We are then greeted by a few choices for the story mode. We have Burn Your Fat With Me, Love Episodes, Beautiful Legs, Bust Up, and Back Extension. All of these, including the Love Episodes, are different stories that cater to different workouts that the app will help you to do. Yes, you don't escape working out just because you got the guy. More on that later. Burn Your Fat and Love Episodes revolve around sit-ups, Beautiful Legs is squats, Chest Up is push-ups, and Back Extension is back extension. So how this game works is that throughout each chapter, the game prompts you with doing a few sit-ups and increasing the amount in each chapter by 10 until you successfully do 100 sit-ups within the time limit. Which I can, by the way, with some effort. I actually threw caution to the wind and went into free training mode and did 100 right away after the first chapter. I don't recommend doing that though. It is much better and safer to slowly work your way to that number like the game suggests. However, I am full of hubris and wanted to prove a point to myself, but God, did my stomach hurt for days afterwards. You can free train as much as you want, but you can't go through all of the chapters in a single day if you are actually doing the workouts as you should, because chapters are locked until you do enough workouts under the timed workout in training mode to earn motivation points to progress. If I'm honest, this isn't a bad way to keep the player motivated and to do even a little bit every day so that you can continue the story. And they may even be incentivized to work out more so that they can unlock the story faster. The amount of workouts you need to do between chapters also increases, so it's a good way to slowly ease the player into working out often and push them into doing more and more each time. Under the training mode, there is also the free training, which earns you burn tokens, and these tokens can be used to pay for extra voice packs for the episodes, since only the first 2 are fully voiced, and to unlock extras like which characters you work out with and different outfits for them. It's another way to give the player a little more motivation to work out and rack up those burn tokens so that they don't have to use real currency for the extras. Throughout the story, they even sprinkle in some other information about weight loss and extra tips like if you're going to have a snack, try to keep it below 100 calories, or giving a brief explanation of what a basal metabolic rate is and how building muscle affects it. But I know you're not here for the mechanics of the game and whether or not it actually helps you lose weight. You're here for the clickbait title. But we do like to be a little more fair and objective on this channel. It's important to highlight the good aspects as well as the bad and remain objective when discussing a topic. But now, all of the good stuff is over, it's time for the bad. So let's dive into the prologue together, shall we? And you'll quickly understand why I chose the title and thumbnail that I did. Otome Academy of the Arts. Run by Japan's most renowned entertainment conglomerate, the Otome Group. This prestigious university is where students of the arts go to hone their craft. The most promising graduates are guaranteed a position at an Otome Group affiliate. Many of them go on to become world-class performers. It's really no wonder that enrollment in the academy is considered the first step to success in the entertainment industry. I ended up here because of my mom, who insisted I enroll for one specific reason. That reason being...
Hey, fatty.
Excuse me? Excuse me? I don't even know you. Huh? I'm so confused. What the hell? What is this? So as you can see, this is the first spoken line of dialogue. I don't even know this person's name and I'm receiving abuse. This is Kay, the supposed love interest, and this is our first impression of him. Not the best introduction to a love interest I've ever seen. I'll be honest, it definitely caught me off guard. He's also the one that will be training us / the MC so that we can shift to the extra pounds. Sure enough, in every single episode, they make a point to have the player perform sit-ups as part of the story, where Kay will count our reps and give some questionable encouragement.
You'd be a beauty if you lost weight. Maybe.
Now you may be thinking, my lady, surely as the story progresses, Kay learns that it's not all about outward appearances and he falls in love with the MC based on who she is on the inside. And I would say, silly little human, you're wrong. It hardly improves at all. I guess he decides to sugarcoat it a little more by the end of the main story, but even so, we're still getting told that we're too fat. In the Beautiful Legs DLC, which takes place after the main story where Kay has already confessed and asked MC to be his girlfriend, he says, and I quote, "You're still a tank compared to the other girls." And in the love episodes where, you know, I thought we'd get a break from the sit-ups, we're still forced to do sit-ups to progress the story. At least this time he's not necessarily doing it for weight loss purposes, but he is trying to purposely humiliate MC in public because she froze up during a curtain call speech, and for some reason he thinks making her do sit-ups in a busy street full of people will help her be more confident and give impromptu speeches on stage well. And so this guy's not only rude, he's also a gargantuan moron. He's also kind of funny looking. I am much too old now to look at high school age characters in that way. In fact, I'm probably almost old enough to be his mother. But honestly, I'm not sure if I was still a youngling I would have been attracted to him. He looks a bit like a tree frog. So, what's the main story about? Well, as you saw in the prologue, MC is sent to an academy where the majority of students are fit and active in the hopes that being in this environment will help her to lose the weight. Suddenly, Kay shows up and is very rude for no goddamn reason, and offers to train MC so that she can be beautiful alongside him on stage as an actress, despite her insistence on being a manga artist. The story follows MC and Kay on her weight loss journey and her path to becoming a great actress within the academy and soon shining on stage. Also, the MC keeps weirdly imagining him as her OC, because he looks exactly how she envisioned her OC to look if he was real, but she's always disappointed because he's just too rude to be him. And I just found that really sad in more than one way. Honestly, the storyline itself isn't that bad. It's only 10 chapters, so there really isn't that much content, and the romance between MC and Kay feels rushed and definitely forced. But you know, I'm not really here to talk about the storyline or the pacing. I'm here to talk about the core issue, which is all of the fat jokes and insults throughout the game. This cruel to be kind approach that they're attempting can really go one of two ways. Now, personally, I found it all hilarious. Listen, I have thick thighs, but even thicker scales since maturing into an adult. It's hard for me to be offended by insults like this, especially when it's coming from pixels in the shape of a punk-ass tree frog-looking teenager. For some people, you know, those who are driven by pure spite, like myself, this will actually motivate them even more. Some people are actually into being berated by 2D characters. You know who you are? The game itself is not bad. I think it's a good idea to have a weight loss app and Otome game rolled into one. The storyline is generic and rushed, but it's okay. And it has more than one way to keep you working out with this app, and it has different workouts you can try. But the blatant fat shaming just ruins the whole thing, and it was a sentiment I saw reflected in some of the reviews for the game. For some people, this is going to be a huge knock of self-esteem. Like, imagine you don't feel good about your body, perhaps you've been called names before, and you decide that it's time to do something about it. You come across this app, feeling motivated that you're finally going to lose weight and have some encouragement and praise while doing it, only to have the first spoken lines of dialogue be,
Hey, fatty.
For a good chunk of people, that's going to knock the wind right out of their sails and demotivate them, because now they can't even find the encouragement they need in a dating sim where the love interests are supposed to be supportive. In my opinion, you can have a character that insults the player until the cows come home, but maybe just a little something when downloading the game to say that the characters may say things that make you uncomfortable, so that those who would be affected by it would have a way to opt out rather than accidentally subjecting themselves to that. In fact, I wouldn't even go as far as saying that you need a blatant warning like that. Just a line of dialogue beforehand from MC saying, you know, lots of people are rude about my weight, including ... and then enter K. It at least gives a player a second to be like, oh, okay, this guy's going to be a jerk. I know a lot of people are going to think that this is a non-issue, but there are people out there who struggle with how they see themselves. And it can be small insecurity problems, but it could also be something serious like a mental health issue. I won't name any just because YouTube doesn't really like that kind of stuff, but I saw a few reviews reflecting that. If someone is struggling badly with how they see themselves and are met with sudden abuse over their appearance on an app that they assumed would be safe and help them, it's going to cause some serious damage to their mental health, because now their fears about themselves are being validated, not just by themselves or the people they know, or even strangers online, but now it's being validated in the fictional world as well. And not to mention that this game is also rated 12 and the story is set in a high school with teenage characters, meaning that this is aimed at teenage girls. And these insults are going to be harmful for young girls who are playing the game, and it can easily instill certain beliefs in them, or anyone developing really, it's not just girls. For teenagers, it's a critical time in their life where they're much more aware of how they are being perceived by others, and even a single comment can be internalized and stay with them for the rest of their life. I should know, I've already been a teenager, once upon a time, and some things said to me back then are still with me today when I look at myself. When I was a youngling and first showing off my humanoid form, someone told me that the space between my eyebrows is so big that they can park a carriage between them, and I think about that every time I look in the mirror. So yes, a game constantly telling you that your fat is going to be detrimental to some people, especially if that's what they're hearing in their real life as well. So yeah, this app, I don't really recommend it for young girls. And the reason I say young girls and not young people is because this version is specifically marketed towards a female demographic. It's in the title, Burn Your Fat With Me for Girls. There is another version of this game which is catered towards a male audience that came out the year prior, and I've played it too. And let me tell you, it is a different experience. There are no real differences in terms of the gameplay, if you can call it that, apart from the boy version having more side stories. The workouts are the same, the mechanics are the same, nothing has changed in that regard. However, compared to the girl version, there are hardly any instances of mentioning the player's weight in a negative way. And Mayu, the love interest for this game, is much more soft with how she talks about weight compared to Kay. Let's compare the introductions for both characters side by side. And there you have it. The boys get, "You're a little squishy, but it's okay, we can fix it." And the girls get, "You are repulsive." The only other instance I can remember in the boys version of weight being mentioned in a not so nice way is another character saying, "Why would anyone be interested in him now?" implying that the male MC is no longer attractive because of his weight. I honestly can't remember any other instance. They are so minor in comparison to the girl version. Mayu is far more supportive during workouts than Kay from the get-go. Granted, the more story chapters that you've unlocked, the softer he gets, but the encouragement Kay gives in the beginning is,
"You'd be a beauty if you lost weight. Maybe."
ugh, that makes my scales crawl. For the male audience of this game, being fat earns a little slap on the wrist, and for the female audience, it's like they've committed a sin. Like I said, not only is Kay talking about your weight, but so are the other classmates, and even the damn drama teacher. In the story, he gives the MC an acting role in the play based on her appearance, saying that the role of the aunt is usually played by a bigger woman. He's a lot more tactful about it, at least, but what kind of acting teacher does that? I understand if it was more for a movie or something, but for a high school production? The casting being based on appearance doesn't matter nearly as much. It says a lot about how our society views fat men versus how they view fat women, but I'm not going to get into all of that nonsense. I'm sure there are plenty of the videos on that societal topic that could do a far better job than I can. But at least the story for the version for girls was a little more engaging than the original one designed for boys. Like, nothing happens. Long story short, Mayu is the MC's childhood friend that is reuniting with him in high school after being separated in middle school. She sees that he's gained weight and decides to help him lose it, and then they get together at the end. Aside from like 2 scenes where Mayu gets jealous of other girls, nothing happens. And if I'm being so honest, I personally would rather have the app insult me and have a decent story than be nice and bore me to tears. That's just me though. Though the app really is heavy on the insults. No pun intended. In fact, let me show you every insult in the first 2 chapters so that you can really get an idea of what it's like and see that I am not over-exaggerating. If you are someone who is struggling with how you perceive your body and you think this kind of thing may affect you and you want to skip this, I'll put a little timestamp here. Okay, let's go.
Hey, fatty. So, what'd you eat this morning? Really? Says the person who laid waste to 2 entire helpings of bacon and eggs? Why would I want to watch something that disgusting? I just assumed that you ate as much as you usually do. Guess I was right.
You're really something else in that leotard, you know. All the other girls look like models, but you...
Hey, what's wrong? You look upset. Oh, don't worry, sweetheart. You didn't miss dinner. You know, if you dropped a few pounds, you could be quite the looker. Look, we're gonna be sharing the stage. I don't need you tripping all over yourself like a clumsy baboon. Try not to eat too much for lunch. Good morning, Tubby. Well, I definitely get a kick of seeing you stand out like a whale in a school of dolphins.
I thought physically fit was part of the academy entrance requirements.
Did the recruiters just forget their glasses the day you came in? Are you hungry again?
Yes, this is like 10 minutes of reading, by the way. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. Granted, it lightens up over the chapters, but still, just for the first 2 alone, that's an insane amount, and I can see why it has the reviews that it does. Putting aside that it's dangerous for young minds and those with image disorders, what kind of message is this sending about relationships? You'd think that this was kind of an enemies to lovers trope, which is something that, you know, sometimes I enjoy, but this feels more just like a bully and victim trope, because the MC just sits there and takes the insults the majority of the time and doesn't defend herself. Like, you can't even call him a tsundere, he's a straight up bully. And this is a trope I've always had a problem with because A, I've been bullied myself when I was a youngling, so I know how awful it feels. And B, it sends the message of, oh, he's insulting you and knocking your self-esteem because he loves you and he wants to help you. Secretly, he cares. Excuse me? It's absolute madness. And let's be reminded that this app is geared towards teenage girls. Impressionable teenage girls, and this is teaching them that they should tolerate this kind of behavior because he might change later on if you just endure it. And then I remember how much more gentle the boy version is in comparison, and I have to sit and wonder why the girl version can't be the same. And there's also the underlying subtext of you can only be successful if you're skinny throughout the whole thing, which just isn't true either. Personally, I think the app is a very good idea at its core, but it has terrible execution. I think the workouts are simple and effective and have variety. It coaxes you to push yourself, but in a safe way that keeps you motivated, and the idea of an Otome game that helps you lose weight as you play it is great. But the insults aren't necessary, and I hate all of the ideologies that this app is subliminally sending. If there was an app similar to this where the love interest was actually supportive, I think it would do a lot of good. So if you've made it this far, let me know how you feel about this topic. Do you agree with my sentiments, or do you think I'm being a little dramatic? Personally, I don't think I'm being dramatic enough. Tell me your thoughts in the comments, and if you would like to support your Duchess, consider leaving a like or subscribing as well for more dating sim and visual novel content. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in whatever I make next.